Hi everyone, I'm Katerina and I'm a 20-year-old student from the Ca' Foscari University of Venice. So it is my honor to introduce you to our next speaker, Daniel Limor. But just to give you a brief information regarding Daniel before starting, Daniel was born in Uruguay and he was raised up in Montevideo. And at the age of 16, he moved to Israel, making a youth aliyah. Daniel graduated political science and international relations at Bar-Ilan University. Then he served for 25 years in Mossad and he headed the undercover field operation that saved 17,000 Ethiopian Jews from war villages in the 80s. So the story of Daniel is so inspiring that he has often been called the Zionist James Bond, since he's risked his own life time and time again to help his fellow Jews from all around the world. In 2019, Netflix decided to turn his story into a movie, and starring Chris Evans, called the Red Sea Diving Resort. And we are so excited to show you also an exclusive look about this movie now.
Your idea is to send the Israeli intelligence service to a Muslim country to run a fake hotel in order to rescue a group of Jews who might or might not survive a 1,000-kilometer walk across the desert to be smuggled out to sea to an Israeli ship.
I play a character by the name of Kabede. He decided to take his people and walk 2,000 miles through the Sudan desert to Israel.
I will bring more families.
We'll find a better way.
They leased a deserted Italian diving resort on the Red Coast to smuggle the Ethiopians through Sudan.
It's really powerful to sit down and hear some of their stories.
I came to Israel in Operation Moses in the 80s, the first exodus of the Ethiopian Jews. There was no information. There was just a rumor that we need to get to Sudan, and from there we'll get our help. At that time, there was a civil war going on in Ethiopia, and crossing the Sudanese desert was a very long and dangerous journey.
This operation could not have succeeded if it was not a combined operation between the Jews who came from Ethiopia and those who came from Israel. At the time of those events, I was working for the Israeli government. I was trusted with doing the study of how to evacuate thousands of people from a warfare zone and bring them to Israel. And we needed a larger team, so I became commander of this operation.
Even if this could work, you'd need a team of agents on the ground.
You've got to be kidding me.
I was part of the crew in Sudan while the operations took place. During the missions, I was in charge of the Red Sea Diving Hotel. I was managing it. This operation was so fulfilling because you were saving hundreds of people from a very bad fate.
Who saves one life saves the world entire. We just saved 174.
زمسيوت شاتروت اللي تكخش إليه ما شايا سمنوكات ببانينو يتحسبنوا فوق.
ואנחנו חלמנו על ירושלים שנים על גבי שנים. אנחנו הדור שזכה להגשים את זה.
Base is on the way home with the entire cargo. See you in a few days.
Well done, Jeff.
Well done. There are still hundreds crossing the border every week. Thousands more in Ethiopia still.
את ההקרבה שהייתה שם, את הסיכונים, להגיע לירושלים בכל מחיר.
My mother, my father, my uncle, many of them was there. It was about people that dreamed to go back home. And for me, I was born in Israel. I am the fulfillment of this story.
Making this movie was very important because these people risked their life every day for almost 3 years to bring us.
This is not a mission for me. This is my life, my family.
These people did risk their lives constantly for years. So if we didn't do that justice, that would be the biggest disappointment in my opinion.
Being blessed to come to the motherland to tell a story about Africans, I am truly humbled.
The spirit of the people is what this is about.
It was a very important story to tell to the next generations.
This movie is about what amazing things people can do when they reach out to each other. What I really want people to take from it is the fact that when you help people, when you understand that we're all part of the same family, the world becomes a better place.
So let's start. And I would like you to tell me a bit more about your upbringing. As I said, you were born in Montevideo in Uruguay, and then you made Aliyah. Could you tell us a bit more about that part of your life?
I went to school where I was the only Jew in my class, but I never suffered of any discrimination or intolerance or so on. There was a small Jewish community, and I belonged to one of those youth Zionist movements. And so when I was 15, I told my parents that I wanted to go to it. That also actually they were not yet. So I was the pioneer of the family, and I left when just after my 16th birthday, and then they came about 3 years after me when I already was serving in the army.
Thank you very much. That was very interesting. So my second question is actually moving straight away to your life in Israel. And what was the first thing that you heard about Jews in Ethiopia at the time?
So before I came to Israel, I never met Sikh Jews that come from Muslim countries or Arab countries. And of course, the Ethiopian Jews were not, I didn't know even about their existence. And I started to learn, to understand that there were Jews in Ethiopia only when I really grew up after my military service, when I went to the university.
So why was it important as an Israeli, both, let's say, on a national and personal level, was worth for you to risk your life to save these Jews that from totally another continent and another, let's say, background? What was the thing that pushed you the most to do this very risky task?
Now, why volunteer? This is something that never really crossed my mind. That I never hesitated. I mean, if you care about people, and you care about your family, it goes in the constant how they say concentric circles. You care about your own family, then you care about your larger family, then you care about your your country, your people. And the fact that they lived in Ethiopia made it even more attractive, because when you think about a Jewish tribe surviving for maybe 2,500 years in Ethiopia, you have to look at the map to understand what the meaning. You have to understand the topography in Ethiopia. The Ethiopian Jews, until about 150 years ago, they thought they were the last Jews on earth.
Let's move, as I mentioned before, about the movie. So, talking about more the Red Sea diving resort, when did you hear first that they were making a movie about your story, about your operation? What was your initial reaction to that?
Well, I was contacted by the guy who wrote the script for this movie. It's called the Red Sea Diving Resort. And he wanted to know if I would cooperate with him in writing the script. I mean, give him, insights of what happened and so on. And then I said, okay, why not? I mean, the story itself is worth being told, not because of me. I mean, there were a lot of people involved in this operation. The operation itself, I thought it was worth to be told, because it's not only a Jewish thing, it's a human thing, It shows that people can be very take risks to help other people. And it doesn't matter the color of skin or the dance and so on. Anyway, problem with the film is that it is a Hollywood film, and to be honest, the Gideon Raff, who wrote the script and also directed the film, the producer, also they both told me that this movie was going to be inspired by the facts, but not based upon, which of course gave them a lot of liberty of movement, of decision, of introducing all kinds of elements that were not there, never existed. But there is a book now. This is a book that was published in February this year, just before the Corona started, and I cooperated with a British writer. His name is Rafi Berg, and the book is called Red Sea Spies. And there you can find exactly what happened. This is a very documented book. The author spoke with many participants in the Operation Brothers, both from the Israeli side and from the Ethiopian Jewish. So anyone that is interested to know what really happened can get the book, and I think it will be satisfying.
So to conclude with a call to action to all the students that are listening to us. So if you wanted to send them a message, let's say a live message, we can say, what would you say to them, to which is important for you, and do you think it's worth that all the students that are listening to us know, and maybe could encourage them also?
When when you reach my age, which is not too old, but certainly not very young, and you gather experience and you see, and they used to say, join the Mossad and see the world, like they used to say, join the Navy in the US. So I saw the world, and I saw the world on very many different angles, how people behave in many parts of the world, especially towards each other. So I'm taking the risk to sound a bit like a cliche, but I'm saying, a person is a person, and you don't have how he looks and what he is not important. What's important is how he behaves, and how he behaves, how he acts in society. Does he live only for himself, or does he look around him and say, okay, I'm in a situation, can help others, so do it. I think that as human beings, we don't have a future in this planet. I mean, okay, for me, there is not such a long time to wait. Think about my grandchildren, and I have 9. I often ask myself, what is awaiting for them if humanity continues fighting each other and look color of the skin or the accent or the form of the eyes and judging people according to their external appearance, there is no future. When it says in the Torah that God created man to his image. Man, of course, man and woman once, according to the story of the creation in the Bible, man and woman were 2 parts of the same body. So when God created on his image, he didn't say what was the color of the skin, or what language they spoke, or whatever. I mean, the image of God means you have to all the time think about doing better, to improve yourself and to improve everything you can around.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you for your words. I would say that this message of hope, it's very very important and very encouraging for all the young generation that is listening. And absolutely, thank you for your time. Thank you for staying with us, joining us. It's been a pleasure and an honor for me personally to be able to interview you. So I thank you. Thank you very much.
Grazie mille.
Prego. You're welcome. Thank you very much for your time, Daniel. It's been a pleasure to host you.